Hey guys, what's popping? And today we'll be doing the next series that I'm gonna make, which is what if Goku was the reincarnation of Majin Buu. So this is gonna be a rather unique what if, as first of all, Majin Buu is gonna have to have died at an earlier point in time, and on top of this, it has to be in such a way that allows Goku to be able to be Majin Buu's reincarnation. So we're gonna make that happen. So the way this what if begins is basically Bobby D sets out for his mission of basically reviving Majin Buu earlier than usual. I'll say about 50 years. No, I'll give it about let's say around 30 years before Goku was born, right? In a distant galaxy, with another alien race. Since basically we saw that it was possible for Bobby D to actually resurrect Majin Buu, even in a planet with relatively weak people. Sorry guys, there was like a cricket or something making a lot of noise, so I had to go like put a stop to that. So anyways, after this, right, this is what happens. So Bobby D manages to resurrect Majin Buu and causes a lot of mayhem across that side of the galaxy. And this is around the time, if you guys, most of you guys know this part in Dragon Ball Super, but Beerus was awake around this time and was regularly visiting other planets, and especially he even visited planet Vegeta around this time. So Beerus was actually awake at this point. So Beerus then looks at Majin Buu, and then Majin Buu basically does dumb stuff, and Bobby D annoys Beerus, like, who are you purple ugly cat? And like Beerus gets angry at this, obviously, and Beerus then uses a Hakai blast to kill Bobby D. And then when Beerus then looks at this pink blob, Beerus then says, I wish you would have been, like, I can tell you're actually really strong, but you have no brains behind you and no way to access your full potential. I wish you ended up as a fighter like one of those Saiyans, because they have potential, they're just not strong at the moment. And maybe you could have even become as strong as the Super Saiyan God of Legend. As Beerus then launches a blast at Buu, destroying him. As Beerus then realizes after killing Buu that he forgot to actually erase Buu. Since Beerus can do two types of attack, he can do a Hakai blast and he can just do a normal ki blast. So Beerus basically just killed Buu but didn't erase Buu, which meant that Buu got sent to the afterlife. So basically the Supreme Kais, first of all, they were kind of tired of Beerus always taking naps. As soon as Beerus did this, he said, well, not my problem, I'm gonna go take a nap. As basically Buu then started annoying people in the afterlife and all that, I guess. So the Supreme Kais were tired of Beerus's antics, but then they got an idea. And they said, imagine if we got Buu's potential and we put it into a Saiyan. As then the Supreme Kais interrupted Buu's normal process, and then they reincarnated him into a Saiyan who was born with a relatively pure heart. As basically they had watched all the Saiyans, and Guinea was basically the purest heart Saiyan they had seen, and they realized that any child that she would probably raise would also have the same quality. As they then reincarnate Buu with all his potential and his ability to learn into this boy named Kakarot. As now our story begins. Goku is born with actually a decently high power level. His power level at this point was around that of King Vegeta's. Or Prince Vegeta's actually. As basically everyone is shocked. I'll say only at this point Bardock, Guinea, and Raditz know about this. As basically Bardock realizes that he's going to have to send his boy away, as if he doesn't, King Vegeta is gonna basically exile him the way he did to Broly. As Bardock knows what he has to do for his son. As he then says a tearful goodbye to his son. As Guinea tells him words that Goku always remembers. Guinea says, "Don't forget to fight for justice and to always do what's right. I know we Saiyans love fighting, but never use this in the wrong way. Use it in a way to help people and to make your friends happy and stronger. Make sure to eat your food and make sure to be a really nice person when you grow up." As Goku then smiles at his mother, as he somehow understands what's about to happen, as he tearfully says goodbye to his parents. And around this time is the same time that Frieza destroys his planet Vegeta, as this is the last time that Goku ever sees his parents. So, in a normal what if story, basically, I would have Goku going to planet Earth. But after more thought on this what if, I don't think there's any way that basically the Supreme Kais would let because the only reason they even reincarnated Majin Buu into Goku is because they knew Guinea would raise him upright. But since planet Earth is a planet that they don't really know much about and they don't know who will end up with, they decide to make the quick decision to leave to raise Goku themselves, because they can make sure Goku reaches his full potential, and they can also make sure that no one evil manages to take Goku and do anything to him. As remember, Majin Buu was a threat, like he was an actual threat. He was literally the final villain of Dragon Ball Z, so I don't think they would just leave this alone and sleep. It's not like someone small in the grand scheme of things. As if Goku is raised badly, they would literally have a Majin Buu issue plus the powers of a Saiyan. Like, just thinking about that is insane. So basically what happens now is as the Supreme Kais then take Goku and they raise him up. They basically teach Goku what it means to basically fight to keep the universe in a stable position. Now they teach Goku about the universes and how each universe has a mortal level ranking, and the job of the creators and the destroyers are to make sure that the mortal ranking for the universe is as high as it possibly can be. And the Supreme Kais explain to Goku how they've not been able to do their job very well, as they're relatively weak compared to most of the major threats in the universe, and they don't have the capacity to do as big of a change as they would like to do. As basically Goku says, "I love fighting and I would love to be able to defeat strong people." As basically he is trained up to become the strength of the Supreme Kais, basically. So in a normal situation where Goku is raised by the Kais, it would probably take a long time for Goku to actually reach Super Saiyan 2 level, probably. Like, it'd probably take at least 10 years, because remember how big Super Saiyan 2 is, and Goku originally would have had the power level of 10. So from 10 to like powers like massively above Frieza is a big gap. And remember, the Supreme Kais aren't even that strong in the grand scheme of things. Like, but now imagine what Oob was able to do to Goku at the end of Dragon Ball Z. So yeah, like, Goku is a menace to society at this point in time. As basically, Goku first of all learns all the techniques that the Supreme Kais have to offer, as Buu has the ability to learn techniques super easily. And on top of that, they try teaching Goku martial arts. Like, these are techniques that took years of practice, and Goku was mastered basically all of them in a week. Everything they had to show him, every technique. So by the age of around 7 or 8, Goku had far surpassed the Supreme Kais, and he had one last mission. As they told him, your final stage of training is being able to lift up the Z sword, and that will finally show you've arrived to your full potential. That we can teach you. As basically Goku at this stage has the Kai Kai, he has the healing techniques. On top of that, I would say now that he started unlocking more of Buu's abilities. He remembers how to use magic to some degree. He can turn people to candy. He has very high regeneration, coupled with his Zenkai boosts. On top of this, he has the ability to learn techniques easily. And on top of that, when he eats, basically when anything he eats that he turns into candy, he gets the abilities that that thing had. So let's say he eats, let's say for example he eats a villain after turning them into candy. Everything that the villain's powers, the villain's everything gets absorbed by Goku. Since this is this is because Goku can't spread out and absorb people. This is basically how Goku is able to absorb people. Since he can't like stretch out into a gummy thing, he is still a Saiyan with Saiyan limits. But everything that Buu's powers could do in a Saiyan body, he can do. On top of that, Goku is quite smart, as he was raised by Kais, and they wouldn't let Goku become dumb, as Goku is literally a menace at the age of 8 years old, as Goku then works to lifting up the Z-Sword. As this, basically Goku gets frustrated by the fact that he can't lift it, and eventually this leads to him unlocking the Ikari state, I would say. After this training and the Kai is finding ways to get Goku stronger, they tell him about the power of the Saiyans and how the monkey, basically the great ape abilities can be accessed in the base form. As they first of all get Goku to feel what Saiyan great ape power feels like by putting him on an abandoned planet with a full moon. As Goku gets a feel for this form, as he then basically, since Goku, again I told you, he's menaced here. Like basically this is basically a what if where Goku's overpowered throughout. So Goku basically is left on a planet, like a deserted planet that has a moon, and he rampages as a great ape. And in the span of like around 3 hours, he manages to gain full consciousness of what he's doing, as he then reverts back to his base form with the Ikari state, as he manages to master all the Ikari, the great ape ability, and put it in his base form. And on top of that, he now can trigger this Ikari state due to a few weeks of practice. And okay, I would say a few months of practice. He's now 9. He can basically use this Ikari state at will. And just imagine, Goku at his base right now is about Super Saiyan Goku level. Like at base, he's at least Frieza. No, I'll even say he's stronger than Frieza. As Shin was stated that he's about as strong as Frieza, and Goku would have long surpassed Shin. Meaning that Goku right now is at about Super Saiyan 2 Cell Saga level, like in his base form. So plus this Ikari state, he's a whole different beast. Just imagine Super Saiyan 2 times 10. That's what he's able to pull off, as he eventually finds the Z-Sword, and with the help of the Ikari state is able to lift it, as he then basically practices with it for a month, bringing him to basically a ginormous amount of power. At this point, I'm not even gonna power scale him anymore. Like just know that Goku is OP. As he then he ends up destroying the Z-Sword after testing it with Kachin, and the old Kai gets released and all that. As basically old Kai offers to unlock Goku's potential. As Goku says, I don't want it yet, but I think this will be an important part of my training. As the old Kai then says, okay, I'll be here anytime you need help. As Goku then says, alright, what's the first step of business now? As they say, the number one threat to our universe at the moment is a tyrant called Frieza. Unfortunately, what he's doing right now is he's trying to gain immortality. And even in his few relatively short years of living, he has been a threat to this universe. Now, if he got immortality, he would be a serious threat that not even we could handle. So what we need you to do is to basically go to planet Namek and stop him. So basically, the way Frieza was able to find out about planet Namek is Reddit still thought that Goku was sent to planet Earth, since he didn't know that the Kais basically intercepted Goku's journey. So Raditz went to planet Earth looking for Goku, and he found out that King Piccolo overran the planet. So eventually Raditz manages to basically destroys everyone on the planet, like kills everything, so that Frieza can take over. But he basically ends up being told about these Dragon Balls, which makes him super curious on what these Dragon Balls can do, as he then basically tells Frieza that a Namekian told him about these Dragon Balls. Okay, basically Frieza hears this, as Raditz was planning to sneak to Namek by himself with Vegeta and Nappa to wish for immortality. As Frieza hears this, and he then says, "Thank you, Raditz, for letting me know this," as they then set off to planet Namek. So now Frieza is on planet Namek, and the planet is on its knees, basically. No one is able to stop him. Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa wanted to try revolt against Frieza, but they know the gap in power is too large and there's nothing they can do. And so basically, Frieza is basically he's basically found the last Dragon Ball, and he's minutes away from being able to wish for immortality. As Goku then says, "This is urgent. I will do my best to vanquish this fool." As Goku then says, "Kai Kai," as he then teleports to planet Namek, shocking everyone around him, as basically the Saiyans had decided that it was over. Like, they thought they had no chance to stop Frieza, until they see a man looking like a Saiyan floating in the air, looking at Frieza, saying, "Frieza, your reign of terror is over." As Frieza then laughs and says, "Oh ho ho, who are you? A new monkey? Well, nevertheless, a monkey is still a monkey. There's no way you can stop me." As Frieza then turns on his scouter to look at how strong Goku actually is, and Frieza's scouter literally breaks, like, instantly. Like, it's not even, like, as soon as he turns it on, it breaks. That's how strong Goku is at this point. Like, Goku's suppressed. Like, Goku at 10% of his power still, like, breaks the scouter, like, instantly. Like, and Frieza, like, it must be a defective scouter. Captain Ginyu, lend me a scouter. As he then tries the same thing with Captain Ginyu's scouter, it breaks too. Like, he tries it with every single Ginyu Force member's scouters. He's like, "What? This can't be true." As Frieza's like, "That means you're higher than my first form." As he then says, "Well, I'm not playing any games with you then." As basically Frieza then says, "Alright," as he goes into his final form. But first he says, "Let me first confirm if you're actually a necessary threat." As he then sends the Ginyu Force, and to fight against Frieza. As, let's just say, the Ginyu Force, like, no matter what they do, they get dismantled. Like, Goku is not the type to waste time here, especially since he knows that there's no way the Ginyu Force can beat him anyway. So he doesn't hold back. Like, he just uses basically 10 to 5% of his power, like, without even trying. Like, the whole Ginyu Force is laid down on the floor, unconscious. Like, basically Frieza blinked and they were all down on the ground, unconscious. As Frieza says, "You guys are just weak," as he then launches a blast and kills them, and this angers Goku. As he looks at Frieza and says, "They were your own men. They dedicated their lives to serving you, and you just killed them as if they're nothing but dust." As Frieza then laughs and says, "Lives mean nothing to me. Only power matters. The strongest survive." As Goku then says, "Well, if the strongest are the only ones who survive, well, that means you're a dead man, Frieza." As Frieza then says, "What must you mean by this?" As Goku lands a punch on Frieza, and this shatters Frieza's jaw. As Frieza's in his final form, might I add, but Frieza is literally on the ground, like, clutching his mouth off that punch, as he realizes that Goku is a serious threat. And Goku says, "I've not even used half my power. I've not even used 20%. As Goku says, "I'm giving you two options. Leave now and let me never hear of your name again. Or two, die right now." As Frieza cannot believe that there's anyone stronger than him. As Frieza then basically reaches his full 100% state, to try and attack Goku. As Goku then slaps Frieza, like literally, not even a punch. He doesn't respect Frieza enough to give him up. He literally slaps Frieza onto the ground, and Frieza is on the ground, like confused. He's so confused, like a Saiyan monkey was able to knock me down this far. As Frieza then says, "You Saiyans, Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz, do something against him." As all three of them say, "We're not gonna fight our fellow monkey, because that's what you call us. Oh, how does it feel to be bested by a Saiyan, Frieza?" As Frieza then says, "You traitors," as he points a finger to launch a blast at them. But Goku, simply using his ki pressure, basically makes Frieza unable to move, as Frieza cannot even land a final blast. As Goku says, "I've clearly seen that there's nothing in you other than damage and evil." As Goku then says, "Unfortunately for you, this is your moment that you shall be vanquished." As Goku then basically says, "Before you die, I want to show you what actual power looks like." As Goku then charges up to his Ikari state, his eyes turn yellow. He gets a animalistic expression in his face as he says, "Right now, you breathe your last, Frieza. Die." As he simply shoots a blast from his finger, which kills Frieza instantly. And that's how the threat of Frieza is ended. As basically the Saiyans next to him are like, they're shocked, like they're fanboying on Goku. They're like, "How'd you do that? How'd you do that?" As Reddit says, "Kakarot, is that you?" So since basically the Supreme Kais raised Goku, they knew his name was Kakarot. So Goku knew his name was Kakarot. As Goku then says, "Yes, that's me. Are you by any chance Raditz?" As Raditz says, "Yes, I am your brother." As Goku says, "You're a bit weak for someone who is my brother, but that can be changed." As Vegeta and Nappa then introduce themselves, and Goku says, "I know you too, but I don't like the way you guys behave. You guys are wicked, and unless you show that you have potential to do good, I cannot take you under my wing." As Vegeta's pride is harmed by this, as he says, I'm weak, I'm evil. How dare you talk to your prince like that?" As Goku says, "I will not train you if you continue this behavior." As Vegeta says, "Who says I need your training? I will simply learn what you did and go further than that." As Vegeta then says, "Let's leave Nappa." As Vegeta then sets out with Nappa to find his own path. As Goku then basically takes Raditz for training. As Vegeta stumbles upon being someone who had been in prison for a long time, who was emanating power. As he realizes that this being is a Saiyan, as the Saiyan then opens his eyes and says, "Who disturbs me from my 1,000-year-old nap?" As the Saiyan Cumber had just been awakened from his sleep. This is where I'll leave off this part. Okay, let me just say, if you guys don't know who Cumber is basically a non-canon Saiyan who's basically on Super Saiyan God level, like he's that powerful, and he was basically an evil Saiyan who opposed the Super Saiyan God, I think. So to basically make this series fair, because at this point, let's be honest, bro, Goku is too overpowered, like he's too strong, and for the sake of making the story interesting, I can't have Goku just molly whopping everyone he stands upon. So basically, Cumber will stand as a force to basically oppose a power that has the ability to oppose Goku. As now, this is where, with that knowledge, I will leave off this part here. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps. And if you haven't, please subscribe, as it's really motivational. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.